So, in this session, you will see we will discuss about transpiration. As you all know, I told you that we will continue with the fourth chapter, that is absorption by roots, in your virtual class, and this chapter, transpiration, I'll take up in this session. So, what is transpiration? Children, you all have already read about it before. Transpiration is basically the loss of water. So the first point is there is a loss of water. Now the point is this loss of water, it takes place in the form of water vapor. It is in the form of water vapor. We can also say, in place of loss of water in the form of water vapor, we can say it as evaporation. If we say evaporation of water, that means the loss of water is taking place in the form of water vapor. This is first point for the definition of transpiration. Then loss of water in the form of water vapor from the aerial parts. So that means from where it is getting lost, aerial parts. And what are the aerial parts present in the plants? Specifically, if you see, they are leaves, which are exposed to air. So from the aerial parts of the plant. Okay, so we don't write leaves here, aerial parts of the plant. Sometimes the roots also help, sometimes the surface, that is the lenticels, that also help in the transpiration. So the loss of water in the form of water vapor from the aerial parts of the leaves, aerial parts of the plants, specifically we say this as stomata, that is called as transpiration. So it is a very useful process. Why we say it is a useful process? Because the first thing is that it helps in creating a suction force. In the previous chapter, as you will read, that whenever the water is sucked up, I mean it is taken up by the xylem to the leaves, so there is a suction force which is required. So when the transpiration takes place, it is exactly like, there is a kind of water column inside which this force is developed. So that force is developed due to the transpiration which is taking place. So it creates that suction force, and that helps the roots to supply the water to the leaves. So this is the significance you can understand as a significance of transpiration, that it helps in creating the transpiration pull or the suction force. Also it helps in cooling of the plant. The process, it can be demonstrated by number of experiments, and in this chapter 5 as well as in chapter 6, that is photosynthesis, you will see that there are number of experiments which help in proving various aspects of this transpiration. So I hope it is clear. The transpiration is a very useful process. Why? Because it helps to create a suction force which helps the roots to absorb water, and the most important thing is it gives the cooling effect to the plant. Why cooling effect to the plant? Because whenever we sweat, what happens? This sweat, it moves away with the air. So when it moves, it takes whenever the air the wind blows, we feel that cooling effect in our body also. Whenever we perspire, we get the cooling effect. That is why in this humid weather, when we sweat, but at the same time there is a lack of air in the atmosphere, and the atmosphere is saturated with the water vapors. It is full of water vapors. So what happens is that sweat is not being dried, and that is why we don't get that cooling effect. So you must have experienced that the hot and dry days are better than this humid weather. The reason being, here are whatever we are perspiring, that is not being dried. So it is not taken with the air, because air itself is saturated with the moisture, and in this season even the rate of transpiration is also less. That is one reason why plants can grow very well, specifically in this rainy season, because of rains also, and the loss of water which is taking place from their body is less. So all the plants, they absorb water through roots, you all know, and this water which is absorbed, that is to be conducted to the leaves, so that they can help in the process of photosynthesis, and the rest of it, whatever is not required by the plant. So for that, there is one more thing which comes here, that loss of excess water. See, council is very particular for certain things, and you need to understand. इफ यू फॉरगेट टू राइट डाउन एक्सेस वाटर, भाई हमारी बॉडी में जो एक्सेस होगा वही तो हम बॉडी से बाहर फेंकेंगे. सिमिलरली प्लांट्स के पास भी जो एक्सेस वाटर है, भाई प्लांट्स को भी तो वाटर की जरूरत है, जस्ट लाइक अस. So if this excess water is to be removed out from the plant body, तो एक बार इसी बात पे काउंसिल ने नहीं दिलवाया था बच्चों को. द रीजन भी ये एक्सेस टर्म मिसिंग था पूरी डेफिनेशन में. So you have to understand loss of excess water in the form of water vapor या evaporation of excess water from the aerial parts of the plant, and that is through stomata, lenticels or the epidermal, the cuticle. So that is the various types of transpiration. So that is how we define this transpiration. So transpiration, as it is given in your books, I would ask you all to see in your book also. It is the process of the loss of water in the form of water vapor from the leaves and other aerial parts. So they help in loss of water. So this is very useful. You will also read that there are reasoning questions which are framed out of it, that transpiration is a necessary evil. It is required also, but at the same time it is evil. Something, if it is lost when you don't have it effluently. For example, the plants which are present in the desert area. So if there the transpiration, एक तो वैसे ही बेचारों के पास पानी नहीं, गरीबी, और what is that you call, no, कंगाली में आटा गीला. एक तो वैसे ही पैसे नहीं है, ऊपर से जो है वो भी जा रहा है. सो इट इज़ लाइक कि देर इज़ वाटर विच दे हैव इज़ नॉट सफिशिएंट, एंड वो उनके ही नहीं पूरा पड़ रहा है, ऊपर से वो भी लॉस हो जाता है. सो दैट इज़ वाई वेयर एवर द वाटर इज़ नॉट सफिशिएंट फ्रॉम देयर ऑल्सो दे कैन नॉट अवॉइड. तो इसी पे 2-3 क्वेश्चंस बनते हैं. ट्रांसपिरेशन इज इनएविटेबल, transpiration is unavoidable, transpiration is necessary evil. Also transpiration is price paid for photosynthesis. So these are 3-4 questions which you might find in the book. If you don't find it, then you may write it down, but answer remains the same, because in the conditions where the water is not sufficient for the plant itself, there also they cannot move away with the this thing, that they cannot escape this process. All right, so now the next thing is demonstration of transpiration. So very simple thing these days, so all the more, if suppose you bring vegetables, I mean your parents, they are taking vegetables. अब तो जाते भी नहीं, पहले लोग जाते थे सब्जी मंडी में सब्जी लेने. So they bring it in a packet, polythene bags में मिलता था, उसको लाके जैसे जहाँ पे आपने जल्दी में डंप कर दिया, if you don't have time. So if you take it out the very next day, you can see that particular polythene, from inside it gets small droplets of water. So what is that? That is actually the water vapors which are transpired from those parts of the plant, because plant से अलग होने के बाद भी वो plant ही तो रहा, vegetable है या fruit है, whatever it is. So they lose water like that. Similarly, there is one experiment given where it demonstrates transpiration. So if you take a healthy potted plant and you cover only the leafy area of that plant with a plastic bag and you keep it for some time, then you will see that the inner side of that plastic gets saturated with the small droplets of water, and that is due to transpiration. So these water vapors, they condense only if the outside temperature is cool enough. So similarly, if empty polythene bag with its mouth, if we tie it and keep it in the sunlight, then also there will be no drops of water which will be shown. So this thing can be kept as a control experiment. Now what is control experiment? Any experiment which is kept in parallel with the actual experiment, but the desired result, they are not it is set in such a way that the desired results cannot be achieved. So that was the first experiment where it demonstrates transpiration by covering a plant with a transparent polythene bag and tying it, and then we leave the plant in sunlight for an hour, not more than that. And as soon as the drops they start appearing, then we leave it at such a place where they can condense more, and we see this experiment to be conducted. Now in continuation with this, there is another experiment which talks about 3 setups. Okay, so there are 3 bell jars which are kept. And in the first bell jar, if you see the condition, there is a well potted plant. Please see in your books, it is mentioned in figure number 5.2. So take a well watered potted plant, and the leaves are broad. You cover it with that bell jar, and then another pot, the pot that is not pot, sorry, bell jar. So in bell jar B, there also you keep one pot, and cover the lower portion of the pot with the polythene bag, so that the base part, that soil part, should not interfere in this process, because soil will also transpire, it will lose some water from the root parts also, so that should not enter in this experiment. So take a well watered plant, and with the broad leaves enclose the pot completely with the polythene bag. Tie the mouth of that polythene bag around the base of the stem. Then that would prevent the escape of water from the pot. Now cover the entire plant under the bell jar as it is given. So similarly, 3 similar experiments in parallel you will keep. And what will you see after some time? Suppose this is the first bell jar, and here is the plant. Second bell jar. In first bell jar, what have you done? The plant is simply kept, and this part of the pot is covered. Okay. In the second bell jar also, the plant is, I have not drawn the leaves, the plant is properly kept, and along with this there is one slide, glass slide, which is attached here, and this glass slide, it has a paper, that is cobalt chloride paper, CuCl2, that is cobalt chloride paper. And I think you all know what is the property of cobalt chloride paper, that it quickly absorbs the moisture and it turns from blue to pink. This cobalt chloride paper, it turns blue to pink. Originally it is blue in color, but after some time it turns pink. Similarly, if you see the third experiment, which is where another bell jar is there, and in this only the glass slide with the cobalt chloride paper. So there will be no change. This can be considered as a experiment for control. Okay, so step B, what is given in the book, you can see from here, another example, similar plant. So we have kept a dry cobalt chloride paper, that is in addition to it. And what we observe, actually, the water which is lost, the moisture, this proves the presence of moisture in this bell jar. Are you getting it? So the first place where the well watered plant is there, of course there will be the moisture, the water droplets present. But how will we test the presence of it? That is because of the color which is changing here from blue to pink. So the change of cobalt chloride paper from blue to pink proves that this moisture is present here. And in the third one, there is only cobalt chloride paper kept without any plant, which shows that moisture has changed the color of the cobalt chloride paper. Alright, then we move further to the measurement of transpiration. So there is an apparatus which can be used for the measurement of transpiration, and that is called as photometer. So we are going to discuss about these various devices in our next class, and then we'll continue with the kinds of transpiration. Thank you, children.